Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday. Used to be Taco Tuesday, and Taco took on a different name now with Trump turning around his tariff ideas. But anyway, we won't get into that. It is Tuesday. It is pre-FOMC day. It is quad OPEX day, and as you are seeing here, the futures are down 0.62% on 1, 2, 3. The Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P, with the Russell 2000 being down 0.88%. And as we will see over here quickly, looking over at the ETFs, the DI, IWM, QQQ, and SPX, going clockwise. The Dow filling the weekend gap essentially, as we are now. The IWM having completely filled the weekend gap. QQQ, that's where it's all at. Still not even touching onto yesterday's, or the overnight lows. I won't say yesterday's lows, but yes, yesterday's lows as well. Still not touching yesterday's lows. And as over on the SPX, filling that 60-45 gap from last week, and then just fluttering along slowly, using the 5-day moving average for its support yesterday to close at 60.33. Well, we will have a new unfilled gap up above after we get open today, but we're not really here to discuss, the semantics of all of this because we're already prepared. We've already got our pre-FOMC prep. We've already got our Quad OPEX Friday prep. Emails have all gone out. All we're doing is tracking now and waiting for the shoes to drop. QQQ, 33.40% on the year. Not on the year, on this April 7th bounce. No correction since. SPX, a little bit the same. 25.32%. No correction yet. Only a 3% drop. And then over on the IWM, I've got the wrong sheet on. That was my preload. Is the IWM having dipped back down below 210 and now having closed that 208.89 gap. It's threatening that 207. So Bernie, you're sitting pretty. Did I just say that twice? Anyway, here what I have is our spreadsheet of the trades that we throw out of them, 32 trades. And as you guys may remember, back in February, I traded Palantir. Got into it on April the 5th. Like the setup on Palantir, everything looked good. Was looking for a topping pattern. And so I took the April 17th, a little bit more than 2 months out, Palantir 100 puts, and I paid $8 for them. And boy, did some people have their little fucking panties up in a wad on that, because I got in at 8 and everybody's like, fuck, you got the top. Now you're just going to eat crow. And they dropped down just below $3 as we went into the 5-year anniversary of COVID, February 19th, when the market topped on the 5-year anniversary of COVID. And then Palantir started to work, and it worked so well that as we got down to 66 over on Palantir, these were worth better than 300%. Ain't that bad. So what I've got now, looking at this, because, we've got the QQQ, again, up 33.4%. Palantir's part of it. Everybody's well aware that the CEO of Palantir cashed in. Big, major sell-off of positions just a few weeks ago. And on the QQQ, again, we've still got these gaps, with Palantir being very similar to it. So let's take a look at Palantir. So I'm over here looking at Palantir, coming off the 66.12, the April 7th bottom, and the way I'm counting this, the way I'm looking at it, I can see an AB, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the first wave up, wave 1, an AB for the wave 2, and this nice move back up to the all-time highs at 125.41 for the wave 3. Very, very good looking. 1, 2, 3, 4, very clean. Boom. A very quick gap down over here on May 6th. I completely forget what the reason was for it, but again, there's a gap down. And that looks like a very clean 4 with this A, B flat that we went into just going nowhere for the better part of 2 weeks over here on Palantir, trading in the 130 down to this 122 area, boom, 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 and then finally here over the last few days, coming off of the June 5 with the gap down and the move up after jobs, boom, a push up. Now, what I see on this is a convergence of Fibonacci's, and that's my first clue where, you know what, we might actually have a top placing right here, because I like it when I start seeing a confluence of Fibonacci's all converging on the same area, and it starts to give me a little bit more confidence that, you know what, I might actually know what the fuck I'm doing. Over here on the the February 19th top and the move to the downside, very nice, very clean, right down to the 2025 open, our bounce back up, and then a dip back down, right down below the deep seek, and right to that big major Fibonacci at 69.20. Perfect little move to the downside. Now on the move up, what I'm seeing here, and I will move this over just a little bit, the bounce, this plus 100, and I don't know exactly how much percent bounce from 66 up to 144.86 yesterday. I see this very clean as a 1, 2, 3, 4, now an extended 5 and a top placing over here. And more importantly, looking at this from a wider view, I can see this as having been 19 waves to the upside. 19 waves since the bottom placed in 2023, which I don't have for you on screen here, but I'll go ahead and move it out. And we will go here onto a wider view 3-year. Coming off of that 584, the bottom there in 2023, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and this being 19. It fits. It fits. It all fits. So this very well could be the big cycle 5 top that we're looking at for this primary one, whatever you want to call it on Palantir. But a dip to the downside is very much overdue. I'll bring you off of this and bring you onto our screens again to bring you into, here we go. This being the Palantir daily, the daily. Now, clear as anyone could see on your RSI 14, your grandpa default, standard, basic with the 70-30 for your overbought, your oversold. You can clearly see you've got yourself a little bit of a running sell divergence. Not a buy divergence, sell divergence on that, but that means absolutely nothing when you're talking about trading options and you're talking about trading short term. It means nothing. Your MACD starting to roll over and starting to become bullish over here on the daily. Everything on this is looking very clean, as you can look on your volume and you can see that your volume is slowly starting to fade off. Another little alarm that you may be getting into a top placement. Over on your RSI 5, breaking up above 70, which again, your grandpa default standard or RSI pivots 70 and 30, you are starting to get a little bit overbought. You're nowhere near what you were back over here in February, but you are starting to get a little bit overbought. Come over onto the weekly. And on the weekly, you can see here, this has just been embedding to the overbought with no power whatsoever to the move to the upside. You've got no sell signals anywhere whatsoever to say that, yes, Palantir has topped. Zero sell signals. All that you're seeing here is a little bit of a reversal warning that, you know what, you might be getting into a top placement. But if you looked back here a month ago, you would have seen the exact same thing. And Palantir stock has moved up a little bit more than $15 and has not dipped over the last month. So, bring you back onto the screens and looking not at the QQQ, you dummy, you want to go back to Palantir and scroll over. And what we're looking at here on Palantir is the monthly. And as you can see here, your monthly RSI embedded at fucking plus 99. I mean, you are talking about gluttony times gluttony multiplied by gluttony. But that doesn't make a difference. All that this is, with looking at it from a monthly point of view, it means nothing to anybody trading over the short term. But what it is saying is that you probably have a very, very strong opportunity to look at that in a bit of a different way. Get off of the monthly and we can look on the quarterly, which is going to be really screwed up look. But yeah, same thing. You're just embedded overbought up here on the RSI on your monthly. But again, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. As you can see here, quarter over quarter over quarter over quarter over quarter over quarter over quarter since the bottom has placed back over here in January or for Q1 2023. Palantir puts in green quarters. That's what it does. And this quarter being the quarter that's ending on June 30th, what is your open? 83.89. So I will bet you $25 million that Palantir closes above 83.89 on June 30th. Yeah, well, that's not really what it takes. But zooming in here and coming in again to this drop down that we had on June 5, and then our gap up on the jobs report on June 6, and looking at this for the most recent bottom and looking at this wave with it being the B bottom, looking at it from that wider point of view, you can see a pretty clean here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this confluence right here of this drawing with the 161.8 coming here at 143.83, the all-time highs being placed yesterday at 144.86. We do have a wider Fibonacci up here at 145.85. We've got an even wider Fibonacci coming off the lows over there in April at 162.49. So is this the top? Well, that's the chance that you're looking at if you want to start shopping at this for puts. Now, doing a call credit spread, no problem with that whatsoever. However, I would not be doing one short term, number one. Number two, it is going to eat up a lot of your buying power doing a call credit spread. So, going back again, looking at how I was early, April 17th. I was definitely early on those when I got into them on February 5th. I had to endure 2 weeks of pain. Could have got a better price. Could have waited for that guy next to me in the shower here in prison to drop the soap so that I could have had that perfect entry. $2.85 where it bottomed out. Ran up to $32 over the course of 2 months with April 17th. Now, I am not calling for a repeat of this. However, going over here and having a look, having pulled it out, shower, bad use of references. What I have on screen here is make sure that I'm talking the right language, the August 15, 2025, 59 days away, puts on Palantir. Now, 100, I wouldn't go out that far, but you can obviously see that somebody's got a spread on here with the 120s and the 100s. You can see the open interest. Again, as you can see why this is not cheap, these are out in August, and you've got an implied volatility here of 75.62%. These are not cheap. Palantir is not cheap. However, for those who are familiar with Palantir, for those who have been involved with Palantir, and for those who are looking at this and seeing where, the 130 puts out in August are $10 each, that's something that you might want to be looking at because, once again, bring you back onto the charts. Looking here at Palantir, with this 136.56 and this gap over here to be filled. Where is it? 137.30. Yeah, 137.30 being your gap just from over the weekend. You've got your 124.80 low over here. You've got your low over here at 133.35. And then you've got your lows from back over here on June the 5th over here at 118.93. The math makes sense on the 130 puts. Once again, come back, bring it up on screen, and the 130 puts being at $10, a retracement just down to fill the gap from the jobs report, bringing over here, which is obviously discussing a new low for the month of June, if we're going to force this to all happen in June, a drop down to 120, and those 130 puts are obviously in the money, $10. You are undoubtedly making money. If it takes all the way until August 15th to take place, you're at least at break even. So that's my view on Palantir. If you like it, send me a message. I'll have a chat with you. It's not a stock that's for everybody to trade, but as you know, Palantir is part of the QQQ, and the QQQ is a hell of a lot cheaper than Palantir. Enjoy your morning. Get ready to sit back and pretty much do nothing. And the FOMC meeting is tomorrow.